We're recording.
All
right, so this is our blended learning activity. My bad, I'll go. But this is our blended learning activity number 2. Parker Henry, Trent Johnson, and Jacob Mitchell. So the 5 steps in planning: defining objectives. In the first step, you need to find and what you're trying to accomplish. Determine status compared to your objectives. This step is to just check up on your progress you have completed and see how close you are to your goal. Develop premises regarding future conditions and generate alternative scenarios for what may happen. In your third step, you need to create an alternative outcome based on your future conditions that may occur. Analyze alternatives and make a plan. The fourth step of planning, you'll need to take the obstacles that may come your way and try and find ways to get around those. And the last one is implement and evaluate a plan. The final step is to take all the information you've gathered from the last 4 steps and follow through with your plan.
All right, so my personal experience going through these steps, in the past, I've used these 5 steps in order to purchase my car last summer. The first step was to create the goal, which was by the end of the summer that I would have bought my own car. The second step is after the first month of summer, check my progress and figure out the day that I have saved enough money for my own car. I'd use the third step because I ended up using some of my money to go to Florida, which set me back some time. Then I had to reevaluate and find a new date that I would have all the money for the car. In the fourth step, I was budgeting money for Florida and making sure I'd still have enough time when I got back to make enough money to purchase the car. And the last step was to come back from vacation and keep working until I had enough money. All right, third question, what was your evaluation of the plan you implemented? My evaluation at the end of the summer was I did have enough time after vacation to save up for the car, and I was able to achieve my goal. Question number 4, did you achieve your defined goals and objectives? The answer is yes, I was able to achieve the goal and make all my objectives I made at the beginning of the summer. What did I learn from the process? Question number 5. I learned that I can cut out lots of purchases that I don't need, which allowed me to save my money. For example, I would pack my lunch instead of going out when I was at work. And then number 6 is, what did I learn about myself? I learned that I can be patient and have more self-control than I realized before.
Alrighty, EM16, diversity in global cultures. What significance does inclusion have on the morale of an organization? So the significance that inclusion can have on the morale of an organization is that overall, if you are including everybody and stuff, you're going to increase overall happiness and efficiency for all the employees. This has a direct relation with the performance of the organization, especially when you start going into the next question, which is how does inclusion relate to multicultural organizations? So there's actually a lot of studies that show that when you have a multicultural organization, the overall performance of that particular organization is going to go up by quite a bit. And the reason for this is because it's really a lot better for the company because they can relate to a much wider demographic of people, and you're also having multiple cultures that can all mesh together and learn from one another, and that overall just helps really boost the organization's performance and their ability to reach out to lots of different types of people.
All right, so number 2 is identify countries with low context cultures and high context cultures. Is it important for managers to be aware of these cultural differences? So I'm just going to go in and explaining what is a high context culture and what is a low context culture. High context cultures will use communication that focuses on underlining context, meaning, and the tone of message. And it's not really the words itself, it's more or less the tone you bring off. Countries that fall into this category can be Japan, China, France, Spain, and Brazil. An example of a low context culture includes like Germany, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Canada, and the United States. And it's important for managers to be aware of these cultural differences because the cultural differences have or different countries have different cultures and different ways to be managed. So you can't manage the same culture if they are used to different things, I guess, socially.
Cool. Number 3, define proxemics. How does the US and Japan differ with respect to proxemics? So proxemics basically has to do with culture and the way that different cultures deal with personal space. So there's 4 distinct zones. So there's intimate, which is going to be like right in your face to about 2 feet away. Personal, which is 2 to 4 feet. Social, which is 4 to 12 feet. And public, which is more than 12. Obviously, all this is super different right now because we're in a pandemic, but that's chill. And the way that this works when it comes to the difference between the US and Japan, so based on the research that we were doing, it looks like in the US, we're a lot more focused on the individual. So we're a lot more used to like working by ourselves or in very small groups where we're not going to be in super close proximity with other people. Whereas Japan, they're all about groups of people and working with lots of people. So you'll find that in Japan, people are going to stand a lot closer to each other. They're going to be a lot more in those personal spaces rather than those social spaces where in the United States, you're going to see people hanging out more in that social range. And that just completely has to do with the culture. And it's all about that cultural intelligence to make sure that you're like used to that and that you're not, getting that culture shock when like you're engaging with people in different cultures like that.
All right, so number 4 is where does the US fall on the Hofstede's 5 value differences versus Japan as well. The United States falls on the lower side of the Hofstede's value scale when comparing to Japan. And do these results surprise me? Not really, because Japan is known to be more of a conservative country. And that's why they score higher on masculinity, power distance, uncertainty avoidance, and long-term orientation. While on the other hand, United States scores higher on individualism and avoidance. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yep.